To my family, you hit on a really important point, which is we were forced to leave. We left in 2020. We moved out, we fled my home country. We moved to California. And for 12 months during lockdown, where we said literally nothing, it was relentless. And that was a real eye-opener for me. I never thought that we'd be away from it completely, but I did think that we would get some form of peace. But that's when I realized that actually our mere existence outside of that institutional control was more of a threat. And, there's a similar thing that happened to my mum as well. And look, they always knew that my wife was going to leave because of the way that they were abusing her. But I think the most embarrassing thing is that I just decided to leave with her.
Do they think the intent was to make her to leave or to break her spirit so she would be easier to control? Because either one would do, right?
A little bit like group therapy. You didn't know, did you?
It was just
You were saying again, I got a dinner reservation. What is this?
Exactly. Well, Harry, let's follow that feeling.
Both. I think both. I've never seen the level of abuse and harassment that I witnessed over my wife. Other members of the family, they've experienced different forms of that. But to see it happen the way that it happened, I was naive going into it. I didn't realize that the British press would be so bigoted. And even if I had, I wouldn't have accepted or understood that they could get away with it. But here we are, and we have created a fantastic life here in California, which is, by the way, is beautiful, and America is a great place to live.
Memory isn't a straight line, it's a tangled mess looping back on itself, and sometimes all it takes is a single drink to unravel it. The taste of tequila can bring back moments you thought you'd forgotten, or maybe just buried deep enough to ignore. It's funny how a simple ritual, glass in hand, the warmth spreading, can make the past feel so close, so alive. Sitting across from a sharp-witted interviewer, tequila in hand, it felt less like an interview and more like a confession. The lights, the cameras, the expectation in the air, it all faded for a moment, replaced by the honesty that comes when you let your guard down, even just a little. For years, my life was scripted, every move choreographed for a public that felt entitled to me, every gesture, every word weighed and measured, as if I belonged to everyone but myself. The weight of expectation is a gilded cage, beautiful but still a cage. It glitters, but it confines, and the world rarely sees the bars. Choosing my own path was seen as betrayal. But what's the point of a script if it demands you sacrifice the person you love? The hardest decisions are the ones that pit duty against your heart, and sometimes the only way forward is to break free, no matter the cost. Speaking out, writing it all down, was born from years of silent frustration and watching the narrative twist beyond recognition. It was a way to reclaim my voice, to set the record straight, and to finally be heard above the noise. People think they know the story, but they don't see the private despair or the powerlessness against an institution and a press working together. Behind every headline is a person struggling to hold on to their truth while the world spins its own version. Sharing a drink, having a laugh, was a way to reclaim my humanity, to show that behind the title I'm just a man protecting his family. Those small moments of joy, of connection, remind me of who I am beneath the surface. In that moment, telling my story, it felt like a small victory, a chance to finally untangle the mess, one memory at a time. And maybe with each word spoken, the crown feels a little lighter and the tequila a little sweeter. It all comes down to love. Love is the force that shapes our choices, the reason we fight, and sometimes the reason we walk away from everything we've ever known. Meeting Meg changed everything. She saw me, not the prince, just Harry. For the first time I felt truly understood, accepted for who I am beneath the titles and expectations. Our love was beautiful, but from the start, The institution resisted her strength and voice. The more she shined, the more they tried to dim her light, as if her confidence was something to be feared. She didn't fit their mould, and that was seen as a threat. Her independence, her compassion, her willingness to speak out, none of it belonged in their carefully controlled world. The abuse began quietly, then grew into a roar. Whispers turned into headlines, and soon the world was watching as the attacks became relentless. I'd seen the press my whole life, but never this level of cruelty. The lies, the distortions, the constant barrage. It was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. The most painful part, the silence from the palace, my own family. Their refusal to speak up, to defend us, cut deeper than any headline ever could. They saw the harassment and did nothing. Their indifference was a message. We were on our own. The institution survives by appeasing the press. But Meghan wouldn't play their game. She refused to be silent, to become what they wanted her to be. When it was clear no help was coming, the choice was instinctive: protect the one you love. I realized I couldn't stand by and watch her suffer. We had to leave, to find space to heal and just be a family. It was the only way to reclaim our peace and give our child the life we dreamed of. The real shock wasn't that Meghan left. It was that I went with her. I chose her, and I chose our future together, no matter the cost. That to them was unforgivable. To break with tradition, to put love before duty, was the ultimate betrayal in their eyes. They expected me to choose the institution over love. But I knew in my heart what truly mattered. But I chose my family. I chose happiness, healing, and hope for our future. And I'd do it again, every single time, because love is worth everything. The most embarrassing thing for them is that I chose to leave. They could have blamed Meghan, but my decision shattered that narrative. I was the fun one, the valuable asset, and for me to walk away exposed a crack in the system. It showed that love could matter more than 1,000 years of tradition. They'll never forgive Meghan because it's easier to blame her than face their own failings. My choice was framed as defiance, not love. The system demands loyalty to the crown above all else, even happiness. By leaving, I held up a mirror to that system, and they hated the reflection. It revealed a family willing to sacrifice its own to protect its image. There's a deep violation in seeing your own words twisted into something unrecognizable, manipulated until their meaning is lost. It's a feeling of helplessness, as if your voice has been stolen and used against you. Even before Spare was released, the press had already dissected it, searching for anything they could use to create controversy and inflict maximum damage. They didn't wait for context or understanding. They rushed to judgment, eager for headlines. The British press are experts at stripping away nuance, building monstrous, misleading headlines from a single phrase or a fragment of a story. They know how to turn a moment into a scandal. The worst example was the claim that I boasted about kills in Afghanistan, a cruel and reckless distortion that not only misrepresented my intentions but also put my family and fellow soldiers at risk. I included that detail in my book out of honesty, hoping to contribute to important conversations about veterans' mental health and the realities of service. It was never meant to glorify or sensationalize. My words themselves weren't dangerous. The way they were spun, twisted, and broadcast without care was what truly caused harm. The press creates villains because it sells papers and grabs attention, distracting the public from the real issues that deserve scrutiny and discussion. This toxic, self-perpetuating cycle between the palace and the press is exactly what I'm trying to break, even though it comes at a personal cost. Whenever I try to set the record straight, I'm accused of attacking my family or seeking attention, when all I want is honesty and understanding. Silence is no longer an option for me. I refuse to let falsehoods define my story. I had to tell my story in my own words, because if I didn't, the distorted version would be all that remained for the world to see. The truth matters, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. It's the only way forward. Watching Megan's treatment was like reliving my mother's story, same tactics, same cruelty, with the added layer of race. My mother shook the institution by being herself, and when she tried to carve her own path, they turned on her. Megan represented a similar challenge. Successful, independent, unafraid to speak. The parallels were impossible to ignore. The institution's problem isn't just with Megan, but with any strong woman who might overshadow the heir. My mother was chased to her death. I couldn't let history repeat itself. Leaving wasn't just about protecting Megan, it was about honouring my mother's memory. I refused to let my wife become another casualty. Saying enough was painful but necessary. It was the only choice I could live with. People ask what my mother would think about the rift with my brother. I believe she'd be heartbroken, but our paths were always diverging, heir and spare, destined for different lives. My mother's presence is stronger now than ever, a sense of guidance and strength in quiet moments. Leaving the institution that caused her so much pain has brought me closer to her spirit. She's part of my new life, in my children's laughter and my resolve to speak the truth. The pain of her loss is now a source of strength. The rift with my brother is a deep wound, but I hope it heals. I find comfort knowing I'm living a life she'd want for me, one of love, freedom and authenticity. Moving to California was like coming up for air after years underwater. The scrutiny of the British tabloids was replaced by peace and space to just be a family. Our life here is built on love, peace and purpose, not protocol. It's funny how people obsess over the crown. I watch it, and I'm more comfortable with its fiction than with the tabloids' supposed facts. At least the show admits it's a drama. The press pretends their stories are truth. I do fact-check the show, but it's still just one version of the story. The real issue is, who gets to tell your story? For so long, others have told mine with their own agenda. Now in California, we're writing our own chapter. That's what we came here to do, create our own narrative under the open sky. Looking back, there's a calm that settled over us. Leaving wasn't easy, but through sadness and frustration we've had each other and our truth. We didn't leave to escape duty, we left to escape abuse and find a way to serve authentically. Our life now is filled with purpose, advocacy and creativity. Telling my story was about survival, about showing my children it's okay to stand up for what's right. It was about breaking a cycle of pain. Silence only serves the oppressor, and I refuse to be silent. Today the sun is shining, my children are happy, and my wife is by my side. The past is part of me, but it doesn't define me. For the first time, life feels like home because it's true.